you're doing some ice bath work, people hopping in. What's all that about, Dave?
Yeah, really, it is just about practicing stress. So we know that stress is not bad for you. You know,
Mm,
constantly reiterating that like stress is good for you, but it needs to be controlled. And the ice bath is, you get in there. The first thing that happens is your breathing starts going fast, your heart rate shoots through the roof, your sympathetic nervous system is in overdrive, a deep survival response is telling you to get out. But we have protocols for what we do in the ice. So we have to control the breathing, muscle scan, use your mind to stay focused. So what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a very stressful environment, but you're controlling it. And that is incredibly powerful because then you take that and you apply it into every facet of life. And the micro bath, the ice bath on a micro level is everything that is uncomfortable, everything that we fear. It's about breaking down those barriers to wellness, like
mm,
those barriers that we put up to try and
yeah,
protect ourselves. But actually, those barriers are very stifling in terms of our physical and mental health. And so it's breaking that down. And so, yeah, that's one of the reasons why we use the ice bath. But there is definitely like a recovery aspect in terms of muscular recovery,
mm,
and you know, there's a lot of studies there's a study that came out a few years ago thinks that saying that there was no effect on using ice baths in terms of active recovery, and that is absolute nonsense. Because if you can regulate your nervous system, if you
mm,
can learn to regulate your nervous system, well, that's the ultimate form of recovery, and
yeah,
that's what we teach you in the ice bath. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and fascinating. How long would people stay maybe in an ice bath for that you would someone sees this and they go, hey, I want to start doing some ice baths. This sounds kind of fun. What would you say is like a limit initially if they started doing them?
Yeah, the first thing to know is you do not need an ice bath to do this. You can go swimming in the ocean. You can go and get in the cold shower.
Mm,
We live in a coastal country, and it's not hard to jump in the ocean. But in terms of like the time, the variable is obviously like the time for all the stuff. Look, if it's 10 degrees water, you could probably stay in for 5-10 minutes. If it's 1 degree water, 5 to 10 minutes, you'll be freezing cold and it'll take all day
sure.
to heat up. So we sort of like, I mean, 2 minutes is a rough guide, but you create your own protocol, like you
Mm,
may initially get in and be in there for 30 seconds, right?
mm,
And you do that for the first week. And then the next week, you add another 20 seconds on. It's like going to the gym. This is like strength. This is absolute strength training for your mind and your nervous system. And you want to like incrementally adapt. And then the variables are time. So you just keep playing around with the time. And what you don't want to be doing is sitting in the ice bath and shivering, because then
yeah,
you'll be using your energy all day to heat up.
yeah, fascinating. Um, Quite a powerful tool to apply. Would you apply that, like, say we've got a training camp with some high performance athletes? When would you kind of use an ice bath sort of situation?
I personally would use it as a means of first getting these athletes to understand the underlying mechanisms of stress and pressure, and how the nervous system responds to that, how your body and mind respond to that. And then I would use the ice bath as the practical application. So we need the theory and we need the practical application. People need both. I think where we often make the mistake is like someone who has, take someone who has anxiety, for example, and they end up in front of a psychologist or a doctor, and they're explaining to them maybe the theory behind it, or trying to work things out with that person. Well, that's good, but then they need practical application. Okay, so how do we apply that? And that's where
Yeah,
the ice bath setting like that is just absolute gold. Whether it be ice bath or sauna, or some form of stress training,
mm,
you have to have, in my opinion, you have to have both, because that's how we learn. um, and yeah, there's no point in just sitting in an ice bath if you don't understand why you're doing it. I feel like you have to understand, yeah, why you're doing it, and have that visual representation of what's going on when you're in there.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Really, really good. Yeah, really informative stuff there. I've done a little few ice baths myself, but it's quite a challenge
Mm.
to really slow things down. But it's actually quite a powerful tool when you come away. Um, you feel so much more. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of like a euphoric kind of a thing that sort of takes place. You feel a lot more sort of alive and alert. Um, is that something that
Yeah.
you tend to hear as well, Dave? Or
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting the positive benefits of what we call the stress hormones, and they are adrenaline, which is systemic, so in your body, and noradrenaline, which is in your brain. And, the positive effects of those are that they make you alert and focused. We
powerful?
have the adrenaline, but then we have it in combination with dopamine, because when you get out, you get this really, you've conquered something. It's like you get this really intense feeling of achieving something, and that's that hit of dopamine that you get. So now you have adrenaline and dopamine, and the combination of those two things is that feeling you get when you get out of the ice bath, and that's